politics and precious metals, currency and current events, and from Bitcoin to Banksters, this is the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show. Now, here are your hosts, Tony Arterburn and Kenzie.
That gunshot is the greatest.
There you go. I knew that you'd eventually come in when the gunshot hit, which is your official cue.
That's my cue. You want me to add on like
welcome to the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you step on my lines or did I step on yours?
I was gonna step on your lines.
Welcome to the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show. I'm your host, Tony Arterburn. I'm joined by the destroyer of normalcy bias, Kenzie. Say hello to the people.
That's me. I'm Kenzie. That's me.
That's you. Well, we normally do a show on Thursdays, and it's my fault that we didn't get a podcast in on Thursdays. So when we run over the allotted time, when we don't reach our Thursday goal, I schedule a live stream for Saturday. So we had a little bit of extra time to watch the markets melt a little further. I was looking at the prices on Trade Ogre before we went live, just some of my coins that I follow, like Pirate Chain. And I love Pirate Chain, by the way. I love the technology behind it, but I want you to take a look at this, Kenzie. Pirate Chain right now trading at 37 cents. And again, I think at one time I was buying shares of Pirate Chain for, I think it hit over $19. So that's where we are right now. Just some of the coins. Monero got hit. It's under $100 right now. Which nice. I've bought Monero at over 250. Again, I'm not selling any of my crypto. A lot of the, I don't hold a lot of them, but I hold some of the meme coins and stuff. I just figured somebody tweeted out earlier that Dogecoin was seeing resistance at zero. It's like holding resistance at zero. So some of this is a big wipeout. And as your partner and my friend, was shouting out the declining rate of Bitcoin, and I said, you're welcome to do that before even during the show. So anyway, it's all happening, and I'm glad to have you here to walk me through at least the crypto side, and we'll talk gold and silver. We'll talk about the central bank digital currency that you and I have been talking about for I guess since the beginning of this show and before that. So anyway, let's just jump right in. What are your thoughts? I mean, where do you want to take the show?
Okay, my first thoughts is that you texted me at like 9 p.m. the other night, and you were like, chances of BTC being 100K in the next 36 months, scale of 1 to 10. And I was like, really realistically, I would give it like a 2 or a 3, just gut level, like, because that's like 3 years out, right? So, but I gave you a 4 because I have no idea what the plan of like greedy banksters are, and that's the only real upside I see,
Yeah.
And you gave it a 6, and I mean maybe, but crypto's never seen a recession.
Well, that's true. But this is also, I think, what we talk about. This is more of a philosophical debate.
Yeah.
Like, aren't we trending? And there's an article on CoinDesk, and I'll just reference it a little bit later in the show. But I think we're trending towards a crypto economy in a lot of ways. Yes, a major portion of it's going to get wiped out. And yes, they have never seen a recession. Bitcoin is still, all roads lead to Rome, is the saying. And I think everything in the blockchain tracks back to Bitcoin. I could be wrong. But I do think that if there is an economy, if we're not in some, catastrophic world war, Mad Max situation in 36 months, then it has the opportunity to grow. I still think it has room to grow. But there's so many factors, and that's why I wanted to see what you thought. In 36 months, can we see Bitcoin at 100K? And the reason I asked that is that, should I use Bitcoin? I'm asking you, and I'm not asking the audience, and we always have to do disclaimers. I hate doing the disclaimers, but I'm not telling you to go buy anything. But like, if I was telling you off air, if we're on air today and Bitcoin hits 15,000, I'll lock in a trade and buy a whole Bitcoin because I don't own a whole Bitcoin, and I've owned it before. I've owned back when I bought Bitcoin in 2016, at $400 a unit, when I was working on my first Bitcoin ATM. Yeah, and that didn't last long. That was when it was down from like went up to like 1,500, then down to 400, and that again, that's ancient history. But yeah, if we hit 15,000 today, I will lock in a trade because I do think I don't like banksters, as you know. It's in the title of the show, but what was it? The chief financial officer for BlackRock, one of my least favorite entities ever. But they said, yeah, Bitcoin will be higher in 3 years than it is now. Even the banksters say it.
So
Thoughts
they
on that?
probably are. Well, they are probably hinting at the fact. See, this is what scares me, Tony. I love the idea. I hate how many people might be getting hurt because they listened to Michael Saylor for so long. I'm sorry if you were stuck over there for a while. I love Bitcoin. I just hate him. Okay, like as a person, I genuinely think that he is a piece of crap. All right. Not even usable stuff that you could put in your garden either. This is like contaminated. It can't be reused. Hazardous material.
He's
I
the
think that
he's the
there's
medical waste of
yeah.
okay.
I think that
Thank you.
there's a huge opportunity for people to possibly get in. Like maybe it makes more sense to them because most people can't just go like some of these rich folks did and they literally bought into Bitcoin like at 60K and dropped a whole 60K to buy a Bitcoin. And I'm not saying that you have to buy a whole one, but hey, the more it drops, the further your money goes in this system, and your gains kind of mean more from that point. Um, so the everyday person has the opportunity to get in. But what I hate about this crash is I think that big bankster folks that have been sitting on the sidelines, certain hedge funds out there that might not even hold Bitcoin yet, I think that they might be drooling at this point. And we'll also see the wave of new regulations and guidance and whatever you want to call it. Not great stuff. Some people think it's fantastic. I don't think that it's great. You're going to see this new wave of this if we get all of these big banksters into it. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I agree with you on that. I mean, with every crisis, there's opportunity, and there's opportunity for nefarious entities and good people alike.
Do you still believe in Bitcoin the same way that you would today if we did find out later that a majority of holdings are someone like a JP Morgan?
Would I still believe in it if I found out later that this entire time some of the whales are actually banksters? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, not exactly. Just if we end up finding out that through this crash or a shift in sort of the narrative, because right now it is like the people's currency. But if it turns into Wall Street's currency, do you think that we, the people, need to look for opportunities somewhere else? Because it's the exact opposite of what Bitcoin was ever supposed to represent.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
I mean, I'm very flexible in that way. I haven't tied my identity to it. I'm not staking
You
my.
don't just walk around with laser eyes daily. You
I love
don't.
Bitcoin, but again, that you have to be flexible, and it's something Bruce Lee talked about. Mind like water,
Mhm.
and especially with things changing as rapidly as they are. I mean, this is not just crypto, not just gold, but society. All the things that are rolled into this historical time frame are all shifting. You have to be lean and mean. You have to be nimble in your thought process. So I'd be if you show me the evidence that I've been wrong, then I will admit that. I
Well, it
don't
doesn't
think.
even mean that we would have been wrong. It just means they had an opportunity and, they could
Oh, if they
capitalize
hijack
on
it
it.
completely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that is very possible. In the short run, I think it could be an opportunity, to grow some wealth and other things like that. But
Mhm.
again, I don't know. Your guess and my guess are just guesses of where it's going to be. But there is I mean, just a massive meltdown. Look at I mean, just from the time that I started, opened the shop this morning at Wise Wolf, and this again, we're broadcasting live on the 18th of June, 2022. It's about 3:07 Central Time here in the Ozarks. This is Bitcoin's price, according to Coin Market Cap, 18,060 LBNs, 18,060 Luciferian Bankster notes make a whole Bitcoin. So this is historic times. You're seeing a massive crash. Can it go lower? I assume that it will, but I don't know. I mean, you hear all sorts of speculation. I mean, what was it? And not too long ago, people buying in at the 65,000, almost $70,000 mark on Bitcoin, and those days are gone, and they come back. Who knows?
It'll be a while before it comes back. And I don't know if it's safe to say this, but if there is somebody that's like super hesitant and doesn't know when to get in, when the stock market stops crashing, and I'm not saying, oh, we get a good consumer price index, like some fancy schmancy report come through and that's heavily manipulated, which is probably about to happen with all of the stuff coming off of container ships. Look, like your food and gas are still going to be high. I don't care what the CPI even says at this point. But don't let some week or even a month of media manipulation make you think that this is over, whether it be the stock market or crypto. But if like you're really waiting for your opportunity, as long as it continues to correlate with the stock market, it's not done falling. They're willing to say recession 300 times a day on the media now. Okay? Like we've been talking about that for months, and realistically like saying, "Hey, this could come up, for over a year." Like cuz it's knocking on the door. And now they're willing to say it on the media 300 times a day. So, there's going to be opportunities there. And for me, the idea is to buy on the way down. Like Tony's known my price target forever. Bitcoin under 20K. I've been saying it since before Bitcoin 60K. I said it at Bitcoin 60K. And I even, said it at some of the false bull. We're going back. And I'm like, no, we're not. Because this whole like year and a half, maybe 2 years, it's fake. Yeah, crypto did amazing, and I really hope that there were enough people out there that weren't just diming hands and like till the end. Take profits when you have them, especially just unrealistic gains. But this is sort of an interesting moment where I don't think that any of the technicals can tell you exactly what's going to happen, because people aren't accounting for like the incredible amount of stimulus that was put into this market. Every bit of extra money that somebody got, there are people out there that put 100% of that stimulus into cryptos. There's people that can get their whole paychecks in cryptos now. You see NFL players doing it. I'm sure somebody at some fancy tech job is doing it. So there's a lot of way to like deploy crypto out there, but nobody thought about how fast it comes back down. And this has kind of been a little bit slow, but I mean, it's been going on. It's just people still had belief. At what point do they kind of start to lose hope in that? And yeah, the sell pressure is really strong right now. And you're also seeing like these hedge funds. That wasn't a thing really back in the day. These hedge funds today, like Michael Saylor can sound all confident if he wants to, but they let people know on a call, like they let their investors know on the last call that they did, that there would be automatic margin calls anywhere below 21,000 on Bitcoin. So he is getting, and they are paying, I don't know how much. I don't know how much he has to pay at a time, but he is having to do that. And the average cost for the Bitcoin that he owns is at 30K. He's got 2 point something billion dollars in debt that he used to get crypto. Like, don't use debt for this kind of stuff, and you're already in a better place. But I don't know, just risky behavior out there.
I agree with you on that. Very risky indeed. CoinDesk had an article, crypto winter is here. The weak will die and the strong will eat their bones.
Okay.
And interesting
Wow.
piece. Interesting piece. But I just this is just an excerpt I wanted to read. And it says crash down, question mark. And here we get to the market crash. I feel immense empathy for those who are losing their jobs right now and for those who will be in the coming days and weeks. I've been there. I lost my job as a result of the 2018 crypto crash, but there's
Mm.
also immense positives in a crypto downturn. The products failing, particularly Luna and Celsius, were substantially illusory all along, driven by inflated, unsustainable returns. It's now becoming clear that the profits depositors in these systems received were essentially a game of musical chairs using venture capital money.
Mhm.
Coinbase, meanwhile, has admitted that it made a major strategic mistake by hiring too fast, despite, as I've pointed out, when it went public in 2021, the brutally cyclical nature of the exchange business. And Three Arrows, a highly influential venture firm, appears to have been heavily invested in some of the most speculative and risky projects on the market. I know it's a terrible cliche, but it's nonetheless true. All of this carnage is, in fact, the good news. This is
Yeah.
what I'm taking from it. Again, I don't know. I'm still very optimistic about what crypto can do because what we're facing, just to be brutally honest, if we don't have innovators, if we don't have the free market pushing back against the central bank digital currencies, and we lose this battle,
We are
for
below 18,000.
okay, we're below 18,000. Well, if it,
Uh-huh.
I guess if it's 15, I'm gonna lock in a trade. I don't know if you got about 40 more minutes. If it hits 15, I'll do it live on air.
Hello to the internet. You have 40 minutes remaining.
It's like we're in a submarine and it's just losing depth, and we're gonna hit that where it has that crush point.
Oh god.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's scary. And been holding Bitcoin for a while. My grandmother texted me last week, and she's like, "I'm watching the news. I really hope your business is okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, my business is fine. I mean, I buy and sell gold, silver mostly, and then some crypto. So a market's up, down. I'm usually doing okay. And I feel bad for a lot of people that what they've done is they've just bought and accumulated so much, and then they're seeing these massive, just seas of red. So I can only imagine. I see it too. I mean, everything I am holding right now is down. When you're talking, gosh, me and you've been friends for years now, and I've been buying gold, buying silver. I mean, remember when I was buying like a Australian kangaroos at $34 an ounce for silver, and silver is again it went below $21 last week for a time. So
Mhm.
it's all everything. There's a bubble in everything, folks, and it's permeating all throughout the markets. There's been so much fake money pumped into this system. It's hard to know what equilibrium is. Just like this article was mentioning, the venture capital money that goes into this sector has inflated it, and
Yeah.
it's not real.
No. This is and I really like what they're pointing out there because realistically, I think that with this article and what we might be saying here is you're gonna find out who's been irresponsible. That works in any and every category of this world. You're gonna find out who's really been working with debt and who's been taking on way more risk than they could tolerate. Um, so yeah, we'll see who's been responsible. Um did you know as far as that Celsius goes, did you hear and I think it was Celsius. Did you hear that Canada's government, like, put people's retirement or, like, 401(k)s or something into, like, they were holding it on, like, Celsius network or something crazy? Like, they were risking your retirement. I'm fine if you wanna put crypto into your own portfolio, but if they're making those decisions for you, that's just crazy.
Well, have you thought about the implications of some of these municipalities, like the city of Fort Worth just was pioneering the way into Bitcoin mining,
Yeah.
like as municipalities. And I'm thinking, I wonder if this changes based off.
Whoever has the capital though, Tony, you're bringing this to a great point because I talked to my partner about this last night. Whoever has the capital to deploy when this gets really bad, if it is really, really bad, remember that Bitcoin's hash rate can change and it can be a little bit easier to mine depending on, like the volume of trading and just what's going on. If they see a slump in this sort of stuff, then I believe that the hash rate automatically changes to encourage miners to come back. And, here in the US, that would be really cool to see. Like if there's some bigwig in Dallas that wants to open an operating system, like the same money that he wanted to put in today could take him even further tomorrow, just because that hash rate isn't as crazy strong. The difficulty level isn't at a 10, it's like at a 8 or a 9 right now. And maybe it'll drop to like a 6. You're getting more Bitcoins for the same amount of energy and time.
That's cool that that's built into the system. We got a comment on YouTube from Spark Jive. It says, what are the chances of people rushing into crypto when SHTF, we know what that means, and physical gold and silver aren't available?
I was thinking about that earlier today because I literally thought to myself, man, like Tony's been having issues. The delays on silver is crazy. If there's delays on gold, that's crazy. We know that central banks are buying more than they ever have. And like, what if people really don't have the option? Like, why would I, and no offense to you, Tony, if I came into your shop and like I had money in my hands today and I was like, I need gold or silver. And you were like, well, ma'am, I'm sorry. It's about 2 months out.
Is that
I'm
how?
going to be like, nah, that's how people sound at the feed store, but not at Tony's place. Sorry. Um,
That's my off-air accent.
that would
It's
be
pretty
great.
good.
But no, I do wonder, will people get into Bitcoin and the larger coins? Guys, I would be so very careful with alts right now. So just Bitcoin and ETH, like that's real it. That's it. Some maxi out there is like, no, it's Bitcoin only. ETH 2.0. Oh, and I'm like, okay, sorry. But just stick to the big boys for right now. And you'll tell further down the road. Remember, a lot of these alts, like any other time, there's going to be a lot of leadership that disappears. All right. The blockchain will still be there, but the leadership will not. The growing will be gone. There are no more fundamentals. So let's see who sticks around. And again, who's been responsible, and they can still get you what they've promised if you're looking at alts.
Well, just a little bit of inside information on the supply chain for gold and silver. I've seen improvement in the selection for gold in the back office of the trading floor and some of my supply chains, some of my outlets and wholesalers. Silver is still scarce, but not as scarce
Mhm.
as it was 8 weeks ago.
Mhm.
It's a little bit better. I'm seeing a lot more live trades. However, it's so clown world because the demand continues to go up and the price continues to go down, and then there's gonna be a point where people aren't going to sell it, so it's gonna just disrupt even more. It's highly bizarre. I mean, because you've got the 2 main metals, the sun and the moon, which are based gold and silver, and the dollar is at an all-time low for purchasing power, even though it's a strong fake dollar. It's a really strong. I don't know if you know this, Kinsey. All the major articles, it's really strong. It's a strong dollar. Um, but we can see the loss in purchasing power, because if gasoline's $5, then shouldn't gold be like $5,000? I mean, for the purchasing power,
You
because
would
that would
think.
basically be double what gasoline was when gold hit 2,000 and some odd an ounce. So,
Mhm.
just my thoughts, but really what, our analysis doesn't really factor in all of the insanity baked into this entire system. So,
Oh, yeah. I mean, talk about insanity. Did you see the screenshot I got of Finblocks? I
yes,
just wanna make sure that over time, if these companies wanna come in and update their websites, that we got the screenshots of it. Um,
that was
yeah,
pretty.
Finblocks up to 90% APY on your crypto. Deposit now and receive earnings, compounded and paid daily. Like 90% APY, what could possibly go wrong? This is crypto right now, guys. This is crypto right now. Don't so
It really is insane, folks. Really weird times. So I'm going to go through some of your news items that you had
go
sent
for it.
me. Let's just jump right into it. We'll start with this piece on Argentina.
The way we're headed.
Argentina's yearly inflation tops 60%. This is the BrazilianReport.com. Tell me what's going on here. Obviously the headlines say it all, but surely they can print their way out of this, I'm assuming.
No. I don't think so.
Need a stimulus relief check for their stimulus relief check.
They do. This is why you have to have your currency backed by something legitimate. They used to be pegged to the US dollar, and that was in hopes of creating stability, but that changed. I think after it says here 2001 financial crisis. The peg is when that broke. And I don't know what they've been trying to peg it to since then. It's just been out of control. But I wanted to bring this up because, it's easy to look back and see what happened to Venezuela. Well, Argentina's been having the same issues for, just as long. And the yearly inflation being at 60%, that is legitimate hyperinflation. Their inflation grew 5.1% in May. And this is just insane. I mean, this is insanity, but this could actually be the direction that we go in as well. And at this point, I couldn't blame these people for having cryptos. I mean, heck, Bitcoin is probably still more stable than their currency is. But that's just outrageous. And that leads us into Argentina hiking interest rates 300 basis points as inflation just continues to spiral. So it's at 52%. And that's the central bank's interest rate is at 52%, Tony. So it's not even enough to keep up with what, inflation is doing. Obviously, they can't even do that. I mean, this is an impossible situation. Like, this can't be fixed.
Well, our central bank, we raised 75 basis points, so we win, right? Inflation's over. It's interesting because I didn't think that they would do this. I mean, it's the highest, speaking of rate hikes, it's the highest interest rate hike by the Fed since 1994. Mm-hmm. And again, this is meant to curtail inflation. But I thought, you and I have talked about this many times, like, can they do it? Because if they do, it will crash what the economy that they've been propping up, which seems.
But also, if they don't do anything, it still crashes and we get hyperinflation. Either way, I think we get hyperinflation.
What you can do with a rate hike, I mean, if you want to kind of think like an elitist, if you want to think in terms of banksterese, you can pick winners and losers, which is my thoughts. Like, okay, we're going to raise it by 75 basis points. We're going to continue some rate hikes. We're going to, curtail a little bit of inflation. We'll see that we have a stronger dollar, whatever that means. But you're also going to see companies fold. You're going to see venture capital pull back. You're going to see a lot of the weak and most vulnerable sectors of our markets collapse. And those who are left standing will reap the benefit. I mean, it's going to be a huge buying spree. You realize that. I realize that. I mean, this is going to be probably like we haven't seen in a generation for people buying up assets here in the next, 24, 36 months.
Yep. Like, you might just be the next JP Morgan. Hopefully not like as evil, but no, that's how their family came up.
Have to get on down to Jekyll Island, and we'll have to have a conspiracy to start a Federal Reserve Bank. I'm trying to imitate Kenzie's imitation of a fictional Tony in a world where you can't get silver at my shop.
It's Tony just comes in with his cowboy hat and spurs on his boots. That's how he sounds.
There's so much to unpack there. Walks with Crow just sent us a comment on YouTube. With cost of fertilizer, maybe we should back the dollar with cow shit. That's good. That's real good. Yeah. Well, hey, that's.
I would trust that more.
You know what? That's real commodity right there.
Yeah. It really is.
Digitize it. If we could just digitize.
Put it on the blockchain.
If we could just digitize it, all would be solved. All right, I'm going to continue plowing through your show notes here. The central bank upped the benchmark leak rate by 300 basis points to 52%. This is again on Argentina. This is
Yeah,
from Reuters.
it's just crazy.
Argentina's central bank raised its benchmark interest rates by the most in 3 years on Thursday, hot on the heels of a major hike by the U.S. Federal Reserve as the South American country firefights sky-high inflation running over 60%. Yep.
That's crazy. Like, at that point, if it wouldn't be, like, so risky and it wasn't such a terrible currency, like, that's one of those things where, like, if you could put some money in a bank over there and just collect, like, the interest on it, it would be outrageous, but the currency is so worthless that, like, it's not worth it. So, I don't know.
Well,
That's
this is
something I'm actually kind of worried about here as we go through this whole recession and credit freezes and things like that. Like, Tony, we're not even gonna have the option to have cool credit cards anymore. Like, you can say goodbye to your 2% cash back on everything. I don't know if you have that one, but we love that one because you just use it so much for, like, business and stuff, and, like, 2% back on everything? Yes. But that's gonna be gone. So that's
oh yeah.
sad.
Yeah, yes, it will be gone. It, every time you swipe your credit card, money is created, or
Yep.
currency is created, and you're going to have these with these interest rates being raised. There's going to be less and less liquidity. It's
Mhm.
trickled down, right? Remember the term trickle down economics from the Reagan era. It really does trickle down, but not wealth. It's
Nope.
the lack of, right, trickles down. It rains on you. All right, this is another
Yeah.
one of Kinsey's show notes. The next central bank meeting and interest rates, big time gap, except for Powell's testimony to Congress next week. And this is the interest rates for central bank rates. The
Mhm.
Fed 1.75%. Next meeting, European Central Bank 0. Oh, they're going
0.
to 0.
There's
Bank of England 1.25%. Let's see what else. What else is in there? Bank of Japan. Oh, negative, negative.
Yes. Yes.
Wow,
And there's
negative.
no turning back from that because 'cause they've had negative rates for a while now.
Yes. Bank of Canada 1.50. Well, there you have it, folks.
Brazil's is crazy, 13.25.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So everywhere is raising, rates, and no, we don't see the European Central Bank doing that, but, all the lizard people, they were born over there, so maybe that's why they still get to be at 0. I don't know.
Maybe so. Maybe so. That's funny. Uh, yeah, again, you're going to have to. These central banks all around the world, they have one thing in common besides the rate adjustments, and that is the fact that they're all working on a central bank digital currency, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Which Jerome Powell's talking about. Well, the dollar, I mean, one of the ways we can strengthen the dollar further in this time is just begin completion of our central bank digital currency.
Mhm. How
More
dangerous for them to have so much power over something like that. Like, they're already trying to digitize your currency, guys. Like, not just between each other with the central banks, but your currency as well. Wherever you live in this world, they want to digitize that. And the moment that they give you some kind of coin like that, you have absolutely zero power. Is the dollar pretty much worthless? Yes, but it still gives you freedom. Um, Cryptocurrencies, if you know how to use them properly, you still have freedom. So I would just say, even if it's not crypto, food, water, shelter, defense, all of that comes before any other kind of investing. But if you have those things and you're a little bit flexible right now, there are other places that you should be putting your dollars. I do believe that. It's dangerous to keep holding them. And I'm just saying don't leave it all there. Do I think that there's gonna be some deflationary pressure at some point and you're gonna have amazing opportunities with cash because either gold hasn't caught up yet or because crypto isn't catching up? For sure. But, just be wary of anything and everything. We're living in no man's land.
Just a side note, I covered yesterday on my radio show that Robert Kiyosaki said that to invest in canned tuna and beans because it was better than gold. You can't eat gold and silver. This is coming from Robert Kiyosaki. You can't eat gold, silver, or Bitcoin.
Rich dad, poor dad. Like,
Yes.
silver man, he loves silver, and
And
he's
he's like,
telling you
he
that.
goes, starvation is the number one threat now. That's what's coming from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So just so you know, folks, I mean, this is what this is in my wheelhouse. This is what Kenzie thinks about and researches. And you've got, somebody I've followed for many, many, many years is Robert Kiyosaki, and somebody I respect. And he's saying, look, canned tuna at this point, can't eat gold or silver, which he's absolutely right about. So it's not all about investing. Sometimes it's just about knowledge. And I like to use gold and silver and Bitcoin for how I exchange value. I don't know where it's going. I don't know, at what point it's going to make me wealthy to own it. But I do know that I don't want to stick around for holding dollars, watching what they're doing with it. Amid high inflation, 36% of employees earning $100,000 or more say they are living paycheck to paycheck. This is on CNBC. And we've talked about this in another light too.
Yeah, because it was people that made, was it 200K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 250 or something like that. 36% of U.S. employees with salaries over 100,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck, double the share in 2019, according to Willis Towers Watson. The highest earners are the only income group that reported on an increase over that time. Okay.
And you know what's amazing about this, Tony? Because I think that the follow-up article needs to be people that own their own businesses, because this is an employee. Like, the only expense you have as far as, like, working or getting to work is your gas. Like, you have no skin in the game with inventory. You have no skin in the game with paying fees every time that you make a sale on something. You have, you just show up and you make some money. And that's great. I'm not dissing on that. I'm just saying we need a follow-up article for small businesses out there that were already ripped apart during the whole scamdemic. And now, like, I'd let you guys know, you could listen to past podcasts. Me and my partner have woken up one day and it shuts off. But he also knows that because he owned his own business in 2008 and he had his greatest year ever and his greatest days ever before 2008 and before 2011, and it dries up. So, just for future reference, if in all of the smoke and fog and fire that we have going on now, you end up building up a business, remember you had that opportunity because some kind of crisis happened. But also remember, like, way down in the future, advice from this young lady here is always be prepared for that rug to be pulled right out from under you, because there's no excuses. Like, you should still be able to maintain if you've been responsible. Um, so we'll see. Or we just have like the worst thing ever and nobody ever wants to buy your stuff again. And it's the Mad Max scenario like Tony talks about. Then,
I don't know.
food,
I-
water, defense.
I'm with you. I get up every morning. I continue my business. I continue to try to grow it. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, I wonder if the world will be, if it will be
Is it
spent
going to
in
end tomorrow, or do I have 10 more years or 10 days?
Well, this is the scary part. I mean, if you're studying central bank digital currencies, you realize what that means, folks. That means that you will not be able to buy or sell as you have been with cash, with the freedom that cash offers and the freedom that things like Bitcoin offer or gold and silver offer, especially if they come in and start doing more regulation with alternative currency, real money. If they go after that, people ask me all the time, what happens if they pass another gold confiscation act? I'm like, I don't know. Don't turn it in. I mean, most people didn't in the 1930s. It's not like they went door to door, but they can do whatever they want at this point, especially if they have the technology of a central bank digital currency, and they can control your digital wallet, whether it expires, whether what items you can spend it on. Maybe you don't have a political persuasion that agrees with the ruling class. You saw what happened in Canada to the truckers. So I'm just saying, this is
Well, and to the people that just supported the truckers, they weren't even a part of it. They just
right.
sent, $10. And now there's a lady out there that's got 3 kids that she can't feed. That's messed up.
Yeah, that to me, it's the biggest uh, threat to liberty in our lifetime, and it may be the biggest threat to liberty ever.
Ever. Yeah.
Ever. Everyone must be against it. Everyone. If you're not against the central bank digital currency, you're not helping. Period. You're part of the problem. You have to be opposed to it with every fiber of your being. It's the end of freedom. It's the end of entrepreneurship. It's the end of free markets. As we don't have free markets now, but we imitate them. We play one on TV every once in a while. We have a free market. But this is, I'm telling you, folks, I will never stop saying it. It's the end of all things American. It's the end of all things free market, if we allow it to happen. That's why I'm doing the show, because I wanted people to know more about the history of the monetary system. I want to learn more. And there's also issues with, getting people to understand a little bit more how to use crypto, which I'm still a very big advocate for, because it's the one thing besides, hard currency, besides sound money, that we have to push back against the central bank digital currencies. If you look back, was it about a year and a half ago, Kinsey, that Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen were saying, well, you won't need all these cryptocurrencies. We're going to come out with our own, and it'll be really secure, and you really like it. And some people go, yeah, that'll be great. We'll have a Fed dollar. And I thought, well, no. You missed the point. The reason we built these things was to get away.
We don't like you. We don't like you. And that's what's wrong with crypto right now, this very moment. It wanted to act. And yes, it is a new form of banking, but excuse me, and excuse my rudeness here. A lot of people running the show in crypto right now turned it into that evil side of banking 2.0. Because remember, power corrupts and power corrupts absolutely. We've got an issue where they are acting. There are people in this space that are 10 times worse, it seems to me, than some of the folks that we've seen from JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and other big bankers that are out there. They are doing stuff to you that is worse than that. And I think some of these characters knew it all along. Maybe some of them just got a little too big for their britches, but that's not what crypto was supposed to be. It should be this peer-to-peer sort of service. And I'm not even talking about price fluctuations necessarily. I'm just talking about the way that they went in and did it. And this is another reason that we preach on having a hard wallet, some form of a cold wallet. Just don't leave it on an exchange for sure. And don't leave it with people that are promising you freaking 30 to 90% APY. It's unrealistic.
Yeah, that tweet that you put out, let's see if I can pull it up. You can follow Kinsey at Wise Wolf Gold on Twitter. Go give us a follow there. And she's, I don't direct her to tell her what to say. She has a carte blanche. She can put.
He hasn't gotten on to me yet, so we're
no.
walking a fine line.
Let's look at this tweet. 90% APY. What could possibly go wrong? And she screenshots CoinDesk with the earn up to 90% APY on your crypto.
Yeah, that's the 90% one is from Finblocks, and CoinDesk is just, it's amazing because you go to their website and they're like, look, 90% payouts daily. And CoinDesk is like, Finblocks imposes 1.5K monthly withdrawal limit. And that's amid the 3 arrows capital uncertainty. So they're trying to kind of like get ahead of things, but it's like, there's no way you ever had legitimate liquidity to begin with. No way.
This is going to get scarier, and I think we've probably as far as the meltdown's concerned, this I imagine it keeps burning down for a while. That's why let's go check Bitcoin again. Do you think are we in the 17,000s yet?
Yeah, we're still in there.
17,977. Well, you didn't quite make it to 15s for my live lock-in trade, but close. You're getting close.
Getting close.
I'll probably have to buy some when we get off the air. But all right, we got a little bit of time left. Let's go over a couple more articles. And again, this is what I thought was the most important piece. Kitco put out this yesterday. The Fed's PAL digital dollar could help U.S. dollar maintain world's reserve currency status. And there we go. That's what I've been talking about. This is the story that I've waited to hit the feed. A U.S. central bank digital currency, CBDC, could help maintain the U.S. dollar status as the world reserve currency, said Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Development of the CBDCs by other countries could pose competition to the U.S. dollar. See, it's a race. It's a race, Kinsey. We got to figure out how to get our CBDC before they get theirs. It's like the end of Dr. Strangelove. Yeah, we go watch that movie from the 60s, the Stanley Kubrick, and it has the mad scientist at the end, like, well, they're going to have mine shafts that they live in and during the nuclear holocaust, and then they say, well, we got to build our mine shafts better. And they're like, well, they're going to have a mine shaft. They're going to have more mine shafts than we have. We have to build our mine shafts. That's exactly what this is. We have to build our bunkers. We need a central bank digital currency. No, we do not. This is quoting Powell. Looking forward, rapid changes are taking place in the global monetary system that may affect the international role of the U.S. dollar. Most major economies already have or are in the process of developing an instant 24/7 payments, said Powell. As the Fed's white paper on this topic notes, a U.S. CBDC could also potentially help maintain the dollar's international standing. It's going to help them. It's going to help them maintain their international standing because they've done such a good job. I mean, how's that deal working out with sanctions on Russia? How'd that work out? How'd Putin's price
It's great
hike?
for them.
Yeah, it's great for the Russians. They're doing even more with the ruble, and now they've leveled off and back. I think better than they were before the war started. And
Yes, still better off.
But don't worry, Kinsey. It's our values to pay $6, $7 gasoline. It's our
Oh,
value.
I forgot. I'm not being patriotic. I'm sorry.
You forgot. You're
I
supposed to
forgot.
support the T-shirt, man. He's
Did
wearing
you see there was one last tweet that I had sent you, and I was a little concerned because I don't think that it's a joke. It's legitimate. About the housing and someone didn't understand debt or mortgages.
Oh, no, I don't think they understood that at all. I think that's probably pretty common.
Is that Oh my god.
I think that's pretty common, where they think that their debt is associated with the markets, like it fluctuates with an up or down. And actually,
No.
when you lock in a real estate trade and you take out a $500,000 loan, you owe the $500,000. If your price of your house
Always.
goes 200,000, well, you can sometimes get out with a short sale, but it still dings you. I mean, you can sometimes negotiate that, but no, you owe it. I mean, it doesn't fluctuate with it. And
Yeah, you have to pay off the debt. And what Tony's referring here to is on Twitter, and I'm just amazed because I think I understood a mortgage before I was like 15, okay? Like I knew what this was, and you're locked in for a really long time. And this is from Reddit. What happens if you buy a house, then a few years later the housing bubble bursts and the price reduces? So say you buy a house at 500K, pay for a few years, then the house is valuated at a lot less. Does the money you paid on the mortgage essentially pay off the house faster? Are you owed money? This kid thinks that the bank is gonna give him money back. No, buddy, you done messed up.
I don't think that's that uncommon, Kizzy. I don't think that's uncommon. A lot of the market in our modern economy, because of we used to be a production economy where we made things. You had manufacturing. That was what made America. From our founding, like the second bill out of Congress in 1789 was the Tariff Act. And that was to protect our home markets. We built things. We became eventually over 100 years after the Industrial Revolution became the manufacturing marvel of mankind. We're the arsenal of democracy. And we just gave it all away. We pawned America's soul, gave it all away. And with these free trade deals and NAFTA and GATT and CAFTA, and then we had the TPP that we were going to do and all that. We just gave it all away. And we became a consumer economy where we used to be the world's greatest creditor, and then we're the world's greatest debtor. We inflated the money supply, and it became about housing. That's the American dream. With just banks figured out, like, we got to loan some money, because when they loan money, it's currency creation. When the banks loan money, it creates new currency. All right. So they figure out we got to have something to back it up. We need a product. So they came up, they have the housing. It's the little, get your cookie cutters, get your suburban stuff, all that will make it easy to get it. Easy credit. So they create the new currency whenever you buy that. And then again, you have to pay off the loan. And there's an argument whether you actually ever own your house because of property tax, but that's for another day. But the bank has that unit, creating those new units over and over and over and over again. That's really what our economy is based off of debt, not off of production. And I'm simplifying it. I'm not an economist. Thank God I'm not, because there's a big chunk of
this would be a really boring show if we were both legitimate, certified, wore ties and suits to work every day economists. Wouldn't be as fun.
Be like Jim Cramer too, which is kind of the.
Oh my God! Did you see that he was like, buy gold? And I was like, no.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put it on me, Ricky Bobby.
It's like, I'm really bullish on Bitcoin. I'm like, oh my God, sell. I used to be in the gold and silver business until Jim Cramer said it was a good idea. And then I put it up for sale. Everything that guy touches dies. Like it's just awful. Like he's like, this is a juggernaut. And I saw somebody retweeted the other day. It was like his recent tweet. He's like, we're absolutely not going into a recession. So I'm glad I'm not an establishment economist that's like Paul Krugman or somebody like that. And I'm glad I'm not a Jim Cramer. Definitely not a Jim Cramer. But I'm just more realistic. I don't think things are going the way the mainstream says that they are. And I think the planners have other ideas in mind. And you look at some of the psychopaths, like the people up at BlackRock. I mean, what the environmental social governance, we had to cover this on the next show. I mean, that everything being pushed by the bankster class, it's very, very concerning. And if you don't know anything about it, you should look into it. I mean, they're conducting policy and changing society. So I don't trust anything that they do. But yeah, don't put that evil on me. Jim Chambers in the chat is laughing about Ricky Bobby, but he asked a great question. And before we get out of here, I got at least one more article we can go over and maybe do a couple of spot prices. But Jim Chambers in the chat says, who's profiting from the crypto crash? What do you think, Kenzie? Who's profiting?
Oh, right now there's actually a couple whales that are doing great. I guess we'll never know who some of these whales are, but some of the wallets are, old wallets. And in fact, I know that it's risky and my bank account is screaming, no, but I'm like, man, there's a lot of really good trading going on. I'm not encouraging this on anyone. It's risky as hell. Very, very risky, but it's so volatile right now that there are just some juicy things out there. And whenever I say trade, some of them are a bit of swing trade. Some of them might only last an hour, and it's literally just buying and selling to make 5 to 10%, sometimes 20 and 30% swings. Playing the casino, Tony. I love to gamble.
If you know what you're doing and you accept the risk, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. My only question about this entire day and what we were going to talk about is, where is the bottom? I don't think we're there yet.
Nowhere near it, but it's fun to if you've done it, if you've never bought crypto in your life, don't come in here and trade this market. You're insane. I would be insane right now for wanting to trade it, but I mean, I've always done the best whenever I'm trading like down. That sounds silly, right? That sounds opposite, but as far as whenever I know that we're in a bull run, I hold. If I know that we're going down, it's like, I am deploying capital and we're going to make some trades. Put my fancy suit on.
Did you ever watch the movie Wall Street Money Never Sleeps? It's part 2 of Wall Street, with Michael Douglas. And
I don't think so.
You should watch it. It covers a lot of what happened in 2008. Right. And if you ever watch the original Wall Street, you got to watch that one first. But that's a great movie. But he bets against. It's kind of like the way I see economics too. I look at what the the mainstream's doing. I look at the social proof of what everything is, whatever's happening, and I bet against it normally because it's usually wrong, right? And I don't think everything we covered today. Um, I'm still bullish on a lot of things. Crypto, still bullish on gold and silver, as far as where we're going, and the need for them. But I have no idea what values are going to be. I
No.
love what Walks with Crow says in the chat. The media is like the band on the Titanic. Great comment. Absolutely. And the band played on. What's concerning to me, I covered this a couple of weeks ago on my radio show. You now have heads of major banks like Jamie Dimon, who, and it was about 10 days ago, came out and said that they were expecting a economic superstorm. Now, generally, the heads of major banks and even smaller financial institutions will play cheerleader right to the end, and even beyond the end, to stave off panic. I don't think that this is America's biggest bank. Why would he say that? See, this is what, and Jim Chambers' question about who's profiting from the crypto crash. Well, it's amazing you have this crypto crash, and then what's the next story? What we covered today: central bank digital currency, the need for it, how it can help the reserve currency status of the dollar, right? You have to have the problem reaction solution built into the thing, right? The solution in all of this, when it's coming from the mainstream and the powers that be, and then I'll let you say something here, Kenzie, is, in my opinion, the solution is the central bank digital currency. The problems and the reactions are all this. Yeah.
Sorry, I was like trying to keep up and see where we were in chat, and then something was going on Twitter, and I was trying to watch the price of Bitcoin for you, and my brain is like full blown ADHD right now. Maybe I should have drank the Red Bull.
Let's see. Jim Chambers says, where the housing market headed with a what does he say, percent on this 30-year and ridiculous valuations? What do you think about Jim Chambers' comment there before we head out, Kenzie?
Where the housing market headed with 7% in 30 years. Yeah, I mean that's not sustainable. You might see like this tiny bit of an uptick, but I doubt that we even see the uptick because of the FOMO, because of people fearing rates going up. Like that makes no sense. You would have been better off with the $500,000 house that had, 3% 30-year locked in, not the $500,000 house was, well, you can't even get the 500 anymore. If you were qualified for 500K, you're no longer qualified necessarily for 500K because interest is different. You're paying differently. And actually, you know what? I don't know if they still have this, Tony, but for anybody out there, you can actually go to the US debt clock. And I believe that they do have a mortgage calculator. And so you can actually go and look at the amount of interest that you would pay to a bank and do all kinds of fun stuff with that. And it will make your jaw drop. Okay. But this is not, I don't think that this is sustainable.
Did I
Because
tell you?
there's a lot of people that are trying to, get houses on the market. We're seeing more of them. People can't afford the prices, interest rates going up. We're in a
Did I tell
bad
you I
spot.
paid off my house?
You did. You were so happy about it.
I paid off. Kenzie's seen my house before. I paid it off. I'm a homeowner. You have to come over and celebrate sometime. We'll have we'll have a 4th of July's coming. You were there last 4th of July. You should have another 4th of July celebration.
Yeah.
You can.
I have good news, but it's not the same kind of good news. I don't know.
This is a major joke, folks. I have my tiny house that I have. It had. I borrowed one of those Graceland buildings, that you see like with the green roofs, and they're built really neat. And Melissa, magnificent. We finished it out with hardwood floors, and it's really cool.
They're
But
really nice, guys.
it's not what you think. But I paid off my house, so
I had let you know that we got a letter in the mail about our insurance being dropped on our home, right?
yeah, you
All right.
told me.
First bit of good news is that it's just because that company's not working with people out of Arkansas anymore, the underwriter on it. So that's fantastic as far as like there might actually be a chance of finding someone to insure us because we do still have a mortgage. And that's the second part of this is the fact that we don't have to like scramble around and like sell a bunch of things to pay off the house all at one time. Like
That's great.
that's another reason, by the way, let me just throw this in here for everybody. That's why you put 20% down or more on a home if you're buying a normal home in your normal circumstances, so you're not paying mortgage insurance. Anything below 20% has to pay mortgage insurance, right, Tony? And that adds on to your monthly bill. So y'all, it's good to stack a little bit of cash if you've got a goal in mind, okay?
Well, I tell you what I'm going to be doing before we close out. We'll do gold and silver spot prices to close out. But I'm just going to be looking at. I paid off all my credit cards. I've paid off, and what they weren't a lot, by the way. I have like the one. I just use credit cards for like if I need a rental car or something. I'm paying off anything that's just an ancillary peripheral monthly payment that I don't want anymore, because I think it's going to get leaner, it's going to get weirder, and we hope Kinsey and I hope that you enjoy the conversations we have here on the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show, and we'll try to cover everything to our ability to help you navigate some of this the tumultuous waters ahead here in our Bermuda Triangle economy, how I call the clown world economy. Let's close out with spot prices. Goldprice.org. Gold 1,840 Luciferian Bankster notes per troy ounce, 1,840 Federal Reserve fiat dollars per troy ounce. It's down $10.93 since the opening today. I think gold is very cheap. That's my opinion, based off of the fact that we're, 2 years ago we had a $2,060 high, and not that long ago we got close to it. Back in March. Silver $21.68 for the white metal, $21.68. It's down 19 cents since opening, so you may want to put a delay order on that Caribbean cruise that you were going to do. I know you're going to take 6 weeks off with some of your earning on silver, Kenzie. So I want to delay that.
Oh my God.
Make sure we don't
Everybody
have any.
just needs to know, like, I'll never, ever do a cruise. Ever.
Yeah. And
Weird phobia, weird fear. Just
weird
won't do
cruise.
it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. I just bought you a cruise, so I'll have to refund it.
Damn.
Jim Chambers will close out with this, and Jim's not wrong. Gold doing what gold does best, not crashing.
Not crashing. There you
Gold
go.
does not crash. That is absolutely.
Can I leave us with a little bit of humor and a joke? If you're a crypto fan, it's gonna hurt your feelings, but if you're a gold bug, you're gonna love it. All right, you ready? It's from Goldseek. He says, update. Informed it is a deposit of bitcoins discovered in Uganda, representing 1.6x the entire supply of existing bitcoin. Because there's that news that came out that Uganda's like, we've got like 36 tons or 36 million tons of gold. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you don't. They've only looked at like satellite imagery, Tony. They haven't even drilled into the ground yet to see the purity. And it's ore. It's tons of ore. It's not physical gold that's even like out of the ground. It's the iron ore. Like there's gonna be way less in the iron ore.
It's always like the stories you hear about. If we could just mine that asteroid, if we could just get there, or the gold that's in the ocean. Like I understand. I know that it'll drive the price down. If we could just like the movie Armageddon, if we could just land on it and mine it. All right, folks, we appreciate you tuning in to the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show. You can subscribe to the podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Sometimes we'll put up interviews as well. I need to do a new interview. We got some guests I've been talking to, and we'll line up some stuff. But usually they're once a week. Follow us and give us a positive review. If I see a new review, I'll read it on the air for next show. And we sure appreciate WiseWolf.gold is our main sponsor, and goldandcrypto.news if you want to go direct to if you want to go direct to the feed. That's Jim Chambers. You got a ton of good stuff. The Bitcoin asteroid, we could mine that for sure. But all right, folks, in a world of bulls and bears, be a wolf. We'll see you next time.